Hello everyone and welcome back to The Lost Planeswalker, and today I'm super excited to tell you about some awesome new spoilers we just got for the Lost Caves of Ixalan. This set looks so amazing so far, and I can't wait to see what other cool treasures we get in this set. But I guess at MagicCon Vegas, they must have unveiled a lot of stuff, and there's just a lot to show. So if you're a fan of dinosaurs or this Ixalan look, I hope you're excited because we have lots and lots of both of those. I'm going to start right off with the hard hitters. We are getting a reprint of Cavern of Souls going into Standard, particularly. This card was just reprinted in Lord of the Rings, and I can't believe it's getting reprinted again. Right now, this card averages right about $50. To see this get reprinted again and maybe drop even lower is incredible. I'm so excited, and we got some really cool variations of art here. I'm not quite sure what's going on. It looks like there's one regular copy with 5 alternate colors, one for each color, and then there's like this special art that combines a couple of these colors. You know, I'm not sure if this is what we're gonna see more of for Ixalan, but it's actually quite interesting. It's not gonna be for everybody, but I really like it, and if there's just any way to get more out there, I am so happy. In addition to that, an even bigger deal is we're getting reprints of Mana Crypt. Mana Crypt is a $200 card easy and has not been reprinted for a long time. Mana Crypt is a high power commander staple that most players just can't get their hands on, so this being reprinted is awesome. And this is the first we have seen of what they're calling special guest cards. I'm not sure if we're going to be getting Mana Crypt level special guest cards for every set, but that is something that they're starting out, and this is the first one we're getting. And if we're gonna receive cards of this caliber for every new set, that is gonna be so cool. Again, we have those 5 cards, one of each color. We have a special one, and then the last one, it looks like it combines all 5 colors for this awesome. Probably it's gonna be the hardest one to get as well, and this is just incredible. Mana Crypt is just one of those cards that a lot of people don't have, so this is just so cool to see this getting reprinted. And before we dive into the rest of those, I just want to say, if you want to stay tuned to see more Lost Caves of Ixalan news and all sorts of other content, because we're getting a lot of spoilers coming here at the end of the year, please subscribe to my channel. I try to do these videos as soon as they come out to let you guys know what's going on. Now I want to dive right into those basic lands, because this is quite possibly the most forward-thinking we have ever seen basic lands. This takes basics to a whole nother level. We have their plains, island, swamp, mountain, and forest, and I don't think we've ever received anything like this before. Maybe in a secret lair, possibly, but the basics for this set are just breathtakingly beautiful. I can definitely see myself picking up this. I was thinking to myself that although the symbols, kind of remind me of Avatar and the way that, the plains and island and swamp, all those symbols look, but this is just incredible. I mean, this gives you a real insight of what Ixalan is, and kind of sparks a wonder that I haven't gotten from a lot of basic lands recently. So these are just so beautiful, and I would like to have a couple of each of these to put in decks when I'm building. So next we have Coercive Portal, which is an artifact. This is being reprinted in this set. This was originally from Conspiracy and says, Will of the Council at the beginning of your upkeep, starting with you. Each player votes for Carnage or Homage. If Carnage get more votes, sack it and destroy all non-land permanents. And if Homage gets more votes or the vote is tied, draw a card. So it's kind of like a little board wipe on demand, that if the table is like, yep, it's time to board wipe, you could board wipe. Or if it ties, you can draw a card. Possibly one of the coolest new cards is the Skullport Nexus. 6 green legendary artifact. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Whenever one or more non-token creatures you control die, create a green fungus dinosaur creature token with base power and toughness equal to the total power of those creatures. And for 2 mana, tap, double target creature's power until end of turn. This is a legendary artifact for a reason. Obviously, you're playing with dinosaurs. You got an 8/8. You tap this, 2 mana, you make it a 16/16. If it dies, you make a 16/16 fungal dinosaur creature token. What? That's just ridiculous. If you have 3 things on the board, they're all 3 power, they die, you make a 9/9 dinosaur. That is just incredible. My one friend was saying, well, here's the new Great Henge, looking at the mana cost and what it does, and yeah, it works pretty similarly, and it's probably going to be pretty powerful. In addition to that, you can just double target creature's power until end of turn as an activated ability. So if you're doing combat and your opponent's like, no, I'm not going to block that 4/4, you double its power, it's an 8/8, maybe that kills them. I could see this being really powerful in Standard and obviously in Commander. Next we have Galta Stampede Tyrant. Legendary creature Elder Dinosaur. 5 green, green, green. Big boy. When Galta Stampede Tyrant enters battlefield, put any number of creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. All right, let me read that one more time. Whenever Galta Stampede Tyrant enters battlefield, put any number of creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Do I really need to say any more about that? This is what an 8 mana spell should do. I think that this is way, way, way strong. But for 8 mana, you should be able to win the game off of that play. You have a Concordant Crossroads out. You have something to give all those creatures you're going to just dump on the battlefield haste. Yeah, this should work. That is so awesome. I can see people building awesome decks with this. Galta, back at it again with those great, great cards. Next up is Huatli, Poet of Unity, and we get a flip card here with Huatli, which is pretty cool. And we're going to get sort of a theme of those in this set, so I'm really excited to look at that. But Huatli, Poet of Unity, 2 green, legendary creature, human, wizard, bard. When Huatli, Poet of Unity, enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land. Reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. 3 red and white. Exile Huatli, then return her to the battlefield, transform under her owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery. And then Huatli turns into Roar of the Fifth People, which is a saga, which is pretty neat. Create 2 3/3 green dinosaur creature tokens. Okay, that seems pretty good. Number 2, Roar of the Fifth People. Gains creatures you control have tap, add red, green, or white. Turning anything into a mana dork that particularly can tap for red, green, and white is actually really, really cool. Cast some of your giant stuff out of your hand. That seems awesome. And since this is a Roar of the Fifth People gains, that's not just for that second phase. You get that for the second, third, and final phase. So that is really, really cool. Number 3 says search your library for a dinosaur card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. So you can go search up a dinosaur, cast it using her second, tick down, and just get a whole bunch of benefit. And then number 4, dinosaurs you control gain double strike and trample until end of turn. I thought Galta was good. This might just take the cake. Any dinosaur deck that has double strike is just terribly strong. Now add trample on top of that with a creature you can put in the command zone and repeat this over and over and over again for that just incredible effect. Yeah, Huatli, Poet of Unity, I can see you being a really good commander. And this is honestly something I am happy to see from these Planeswalker cards that are no longer Planeswalkers. I want these to be as strong as you want them to be. You know, these should be standout cards from sets that you go, well, do you remember from Lost Caves of Ixalan, that Huatli, Poet of Unity? Yeah, this is a great design choice. We saw that with the Wilds of Eldraine. Rowan and Will were just powerhouses. They were like things we had never seen before on a legendary creature, let alone, you know, a creature at all. And yeah, this is very, very much making me look forward to what's coming up. Next up is our first legendary creature god that I think we're going to see a set of on this world. We have Ogier, Ixalan, Deepest Might. I don't think I said that right, but it's 2 red legendary creature god with trample. If a red source you control would deal an amount of non-combat damage less than Ogier Ixalan's power to an opponent, that source deals damage equal to its power instead. When this guy dies, return it to the battlefield tapped and transformed under its owner's control. And it turns into the Temple of Power, a land that says tap to add a red, or 2 and a red, transform the Temple of Power. Activate only if a red source you control dealt 4 or more non-combat damage this turn and only as a sorcery. You can just turn Ogier Ixalan into a giant creature and then using cheap spells to just fling huge amount of damage at your opponents. Pair this up with some damage doublers and some other cheap things that just make you deal damage. This is so cool. This is a really unique legend. We haven't really seen anything like this before, and I can't wait to see how people build this. Breaches Edgar Pillager is back. We have a legendary creature Goblin Pirate. First strike, whenever a pirate you control attacks, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Create a treasure token. Target creature can't block this turn, or exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. It's a pretty cool card to add to that pirate theme. You know, hopefully we'll get some more of these, but yeah, this is pretty fun. We have another special guest with Lord of Atlantis. This was originally printed all the way back in Alpha and has kind of been a Merfolk staple. So to get this cool new art and see this come back in Ixalan is just awesome. If there was a plane to do it, this would be the plane. And our last new card from this set is Kellen, Daring Traveler. This is the Kellen from Wilds of Eldraine. he made his way to Ixalan, and maybe we'll see him go through all the planes. That would actually be pretty interesting. But Kellan Daring Traveler is 1 and a white for legendary creature Human Fairy Scout, with whenever it attacks, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature with mana value 3 or less, put it into your hand, otherwise you put it into your graveyard. That's pretty interesting. And it also is a adventure card, right? Because that's what Kellan is. He's from Eldraine. So Journey On, single green, sorcery, adventure. Create X map tokens where X is 1 plus the number of opponents who control an artifact. We haven't gotten a clue into what these map tokens are, but hopefully they're pretty strong because I don't really see Kellan's first ability making him very playable. But maybe these map tokens are going to be worth, getting your hands on and playing, so I'm very excited to see that. But before we end today, we got some brand new first looks at the Jurassic Park crossover cards. And these are much, much better than the Transformer cards we received last year. This crossover definitely had a lot more thought put into it, and I bet they got some feedback and said, you know what, we gotta make this good. So starting off, we have Ian Malcolm, Chaotician, legendary creature, human scientist. Whenever a player draws their second card each turn, that player exiles the top card of their library. During each player's turn, that player may cast a spell from among the cards they don't own in exile with Ian. And you can use mana of any type to cast those spells. So it seems like you're exiling your top card, and then you can cast your opponent's stuff, but not your own things. This seems like a really cool Izzet commander that's just like crazy, chaotic, obviously. So I'm really excited to see this. This actually looks really, really fun. Next, we have Indominus Rex Alpha, which is a 1 blue-black hybrid, green, legendary creature dinosaur mutant. As Indominus Rex Alpha enters the battlefield, discard any number of creature cards. It enters with a flying counter if a card discarded this way had flying. The same is true for First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Hexproof, Haste, Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, Reach, Trample, and Vigilance. When Indominus Rex enters the battlefield, draw a card for each counter on it. This is such a cool idea. Basically pitching your other stuff to transform it and mutate into this dinosaur with all of these abilities, and then you just refill your hand for all those cards, and not particularly for the number of counters. So if you have a card that has flying and First Strike, well, that gives you 2 counters, so you pitched 1 thing to draw 2. Same is true for everything else. So you might want to put a lot of things in your deck that have, 3 or 4 different abilities on them if you can get there, but you're going to just draw a ton of cards from that. This is such a cool idea. I really, really love this. There's a lot of cool strategies I could think you could, use with this, because it's just an enter the battlefield ability. So if you can blink it, well, it's going to ETB again. You can just pitch a bunch of cards and draw a bunch more. This is so cool. I can't wait to see what people do with this. I might have to build a deck around this, but yeah. And lastly, we have this Saga enchantment that's called Welcome To, and it transforms to Jurassic Park. So the Welcome To side is what we cast for 1 green, and at our first step, for each opponent, up to 1 target non-creature artifact they control becomes a 0/4 wall artifact creature with Defender for as long as you control the Saga. Alright, so it makes a wall, right? That's what Jurassic Park did. They made all these walls. Number 2, create a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token with Trample. It gains haste until end of turn. Awesome. And then step 3, destroy all walls. Exile this Saga, then return it to the battlefield transformed under your control, right? The dinosaurs went on a rampage, and it transformed into Jurassic Park, a legendary land. Each dinosaur card in your graveyard has Escape. The escape cost is equal to the card's mana cost plus exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. You can tap it to add a green for each dinosaur you control. Dinosaur decks, you are welcome. This gives you a permanent Underworld Breach that lets you just cast your dinosaur from your graveyard. Sure, you have to exile a couple of cards, but these creatures don't go away. And this land doesn't go away either. I can see this card being worth $20, maybe $30 for any good dinosaur deck, because this is an instant include. Not only do you turn your opponent's non-creature artifacts into walls and then destroy them all, you get a dinosaur and just create a Gaia's Cradle for dinosaur decks. This is a threat, and I would hate to be the player on the receiving end of this card. That was our first look at the Wilds of Ixalan, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and if you aren't subscribed to my channel, please do so. I'm going to be trying to follow this very closely as it comes out and doing more spoilers videos with this once we get more spoilers. The Lost Caves of Ixalan are just so amazing, and I didn't know what to expect, and I am beyond excited now. From what we just saw here in this preview, we got a lot of really good cards, and I just can't wait to see what else. Especially those special guest cards. Are we going to get more Mana Crypt level special guests? The other one we got was Lord of Atlantis, which isn't the best, but Lord of Atlantis is still a very, very good card. So I am very excited to see that, especially that new, beautiful art. This is just looking up. If there's a card that you're like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to get this, or maybe there's something you're speculating, maybe they're going to reprint this card, please leave it in the comments down below. I love to see what you guys think. If you want to help me out in another way, please leave a like and share this video with your friends. Do you have a friend who's super excited for the Lost Caves of Ixalan? We'll send this to them, and maybe they're going to see a card that they didn't know just got spoiled. Thank you so much. And today's Scryfall card of the day is Ghostly Sentinel. Mystics of the Stone Havens call upon the spirits of fallen heroes to defend the refuges. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you later, Planeswalkers.